Thank you to Simthic, accessible via sim.gg for the weapon stats used in making this video. Link in the description. Hello, this is yet another entry into a series I've been calling Final Meta, an exploration into the infantry weapons in Battlefield 5 following its final content release. In this video, I will be covering the P08 Carbine and Trench Carbine, the pistol carbines of Battlefield 5. These are the Recon's primary option for closer ranged aggressive flanking due to their ease of use in close range and their sufficiently large magazine capacities. I strongly advise the Pathfinder combat role when beacons are available to spawn on that are superior to other spawn options. However, you benefit more from switching to the sniper combat role if you already have access to a spawn well behind enemy lines without Pathfinder, or if there are no friendly spawn beacons available anyway. For the P08 precision build I advise, I suggest a 2x scope. While the P08 Carbine doesn't have an amazing time to kill at longer ranges, its damage per shot at the longest ranges is equivalent to your typical assault rifle, or LMG. You, however, want a generally faster aiming speed, as it's still best as an aggressive weapon. That said, the 3x scope is not a terrible option, as it provides a better sight picture and stronger magnification, and unlike the bolt-action rifles and anti-material rifles, pistol carbines paired with the 3x scope do not produce scope glint. If you build the P08 for hipfire and rushing, I suggest the iron sight. That build generally doesn't emphasize longer ranged fighting, and removing the scope removes unnecessary visual obfuscation. For instances where aiming down the sight is necessary, the irons are relatively usable. For the Trench Carbine, I suggest the Latty sights. The Trench Carbine's overall recoil is not that significant because of its low firing rate, but because each shot produces a decent amount of recoil, relatively speaking, visual recoil is noticeable. The Latty sight helps mitigate this issue, even though the Trench Carbine's overall recoil is technically lower than the P08's. For my suggested gadgets, I advise smoke, flare gun, and spawn beacon. Use the smoke grenade to obtain visual cover to obtain new flanks on the enemy team. Use the spawn beacon to permit you or friendly units to spawn in behind the enemy team or simply to reach the front lines faster. And the flare gun can, in the heat of battle, provide a means to achieve superior flanks as well, as it will give you an idea of where the enemies are and likely will encourage your team to provide some level of cover fire since they will also know enemy locations. Once you've achieved a flank, place a beacon in a location unlikely to be run across by enemies and simply spawn there the next time you reach the deploy screen. Of note, the pistol carbines are the only weapons in the Recon class that I generally can suggest a dedicated anti-personnel explosive gadget loadout of frag grenades, doppelschuss, and AP mines, or even the RMN-50 rifle frag, but only if you are playing in close quarters maps like Al Marj Encampment or Operation Underground, and you are using the Pathfinder combat role because your team has other Recon players placing down spawn beacons that you can capitalize on. When it comes to sidearms, I suggest the M1911 Suppressed. The damage profile of the M1911 meshes perfectly with both pistol carbines, as they are all 3-shot kills to the body. While an emergency swap pistol is not notably important, and the excellent ammo reliability of the M1911 is redundant, there also isn't much reason to use any of the longer ranged pistols to make up for ranged performance. While the Trench is questionable at longer ranges, it still beats out both the Model 27 and Welrod. You can use the M1911 Suppressed when you initially spawn on your spawn beacon as a means to mitigate risks that the enemy team will find it by following their damage indicators. For similar reasons to the M1911 Suppressed, the knife is also advised for your melee weapon, as its 3-hit kill meshes well with both the carbines and the sidearm I suggest here. And of course, its improved assassination radius is fairly beneficial for a flanking-oriented weapon. When it comes to upgrade tree suggestions, the P08 can reasonably go in one of 2 ways. If you want a pistol carbine, more capable of longer ranges, go left, right, right. This results in quick aim, custom stock, lightened stock, and barrel bedding. This gives you an aimed strafing DMR-like pistol carbine that is reasonably capable at most ranges, though dominant in none of them. On the other hand, if you'd rather play more aggressively, as if you have a large semi-auto SMG, you can alternatively go right, left, left, resulting in slings and swivels, enhanced grips, polished action, and quick reload. The main strength of this build is that you can sprint frequently, but still be capable of dealing with sudden threats with improved hipfire and large magazines. Note that this is only notable in that it's a build that is unique within the Recon class, providing a means to achieve this rusher playstyle with improved hipfire. But it's statistically inferior for this playstyle compared to the medic class's M3 grease gun with similar upgrades and a suppressor upgrade. The only real strength the P08 has is better time to kill and damage beyond 20 meters, which will factor somewhat less often if you're sticking to a rushing playstyle in the first place. This is still a notable build though, as a rusher playstyle meshes very well with the ability to spot players by damaging them and paired with placing spawn beacons, allowing you to constantly be hitting the front lines and marking targets for your team. This exact build is not technically possible with the other gun featured in this video, the Trench Carbine, as it also has enhanced grips and polished action, as well as the slings and swivels upgrade, but it cannot combine them. Speaking of the Trench Carbine, for its upgrade, I only really suggest one build, all right side of the tree, resulting in lightened stock, slings and swivels, select fire, and custom stock. This produces an aimed strafing, full auto aggressive weapon. It's essentially a very slow firing SMG with a higher damage per shot and a significantly larger than average magazine. Despite its full auto firing rate though, you do want to play a little more cautiously, as you don't have slings and swivels, placing you at a disadvantage if you sprint frequently. Stock corners cautiously instead, and generally stick to the rear of the front line. When it comes to tactical suggestions, close range engagements are these weapons' strong suits. However, with the P08's case, it's a tad more useful at mid-range, and the Trench, with its larger magazine and full auto firing mode, is a little more capable at shorter distances. Regardless, they will often still be beat in both close and long range and straight-up gunfights against weapons more focused built for those ranges. They are only at best mediocre for largely any engagement range. In general, you want to use these weapons to flank in order to take advantage of their large magazine, and with the high damage up close, this results in a very high kill capacity for both. When you use the P08's precision DMR build for longer ranges, make sure to stand still to maximize accuracy. If your target is aware of you, however, at the start of a gunfight, you might be more advised to avoid combat and try to engineer a fight where you are engaging in mid-range so you can strafe and fire. For the P08's rushing build and the Trench, you largely should always be moving. With the P08, sprint as often as possible to obtain flanks and commit to walking hipfire once you do engage with enemies. With the Trench, avoid sprinting too often and stay aimed down your sights and ADS strafe once you engage targets. You are generally advised to mag dump and pre-fire to both make up for their slower time to kill and to take advantage of their larger magazines. Even if you only damage your opponents instead of kill them, you will spot them for your team. Both guns in this video have identical reload speeds, tactical or empty. Be very aware of their notably slow empty reload, lasting a whopping 4 seconds. Their empty reload is worse than any of the SMGs the meta class has. Try to reload when you still have ammo in the magazine in the heat of battle, though wait to see that your ammo count is in the single-digit realm, as even their tactical reloads are significantly slow, and constantly reloading prematurely will likely result in unnecessary deaths. In conclusion, if you want to take advantage of the aggressive flanking potential provided by the Recon class and generally prefer closer ranged fights, the pistol carbines of the class make for an effective option. Thank you for watching my video to the end. Please like, comment, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications.